we have a lot of material to work with. I'm gonna wait until Jim says I have permission to start. All right, so hi, I'm Dr. Cynthia Clark, acupuncture physician, applied clinical nutritionist. I'm the creator of Energy Evolution, which is what we're doing today, and I'm the president of Longevity Wellness, and today we are talking about insomnia. So, how many people do you think have trouble sleeping? And when we say insomnia, we mean anywhere between 1 hour sleep loss or the entire night's sleep loss. How many would you guess? How many people? What percent of the population?
85.
85. 60? You guys have some pretty high guesses. Okay, good. We'll find out more in a minute. One of my favorite metrics about sleep loss is, and the deleterious effects that it can have on us, because it's one of these things that we all kind of deal with, right? Like, everybody loses some sleep sometime, whether it's because of a screaming kid or a project that's due or just monkey mind. Everybody loses some sleep sometime. And the question is what to do and how to get out of that club very quickly. And the reason for that is because even though it's something that we all deal with at some point, it's also very deleterious. So for example, the day that we switch, that we spring forward in daylight savings time, that day, the number of fatalities in our car accidents go up by about 40%, which is like astronomical. Like, it's huge, and that's just 1 hour less sleep in it. It'd be an interesting, we just had the 4th of July, so it'd be an interesting, a lot of people stay up late and watch fireworks on 4th of July. It'd be interesting, I don't know the metrics for the increased number of accidents on the day after July, but you're welcome to find the switch to that. It was not my intention for that to stay on. Welcome, welcome, welcome! Okay, so insomnia. On the fronts of your books is one of my favorite pictures by an artist named Android Jones, and it's called Jake the Dreaming. And you see this little boy looking through this door, and he's looking out into this wild, crazy, nonsensical world of, maybe that's a pirate ship in the distance being blown up, maybe that's a crazy, and our dreams are kind of like that, right? There's a little bit of craziness, there's a little bit of trying to make sense of things. How many people remember their dreams? Sometimes. Do you have good dreams?
Not always.
Not always.
More rarely good dreams than weird, just everything.
Okay, so there's good dreams and there's stress dreams, and dreams can tell us a lot. Dreams are actually very beneficial, and dreams at certain times, or like there are certain types of dreams that can actually be divine guidance. So if you are waking up in the middle of the night, especially around the hour of 3 o'clock, and you have the sense that you should write something down, then write something down, because oftentimes those are when the nudges from the universe comes in. It's a little bit outside the scope of the class, but by one paradigm, there are different angels that rule different hours of the night, and that is an hour that's particularly protected. By another paradigm that we will be talking about is the Chinese meridian clock, and so we'll be talking about what happens when inside the body. And I really love this quote: "You have to dream before your dreams can come true." So dreaming is a very, very beneficial thing. So do we have any lucid dreamers in here? Lucid dreaming? Yeah, okay. So this is also something that you can develop. We can talk more about that if you guys want to. All right, so let's start off with some Qigong. Yes, please stand. And as you know, we do different Qigongs depending upon the group and where we are on a given day. So in case you thought this was scripted, it's really not. It's a very live type of work. Okay, and so we're gonna first start with 3 deep cleansing breaths. So feet about shoulder width apart, arms come up. First time focusing on the front side of your body Relaxing and releasing the eyes, the nose, the sinuses, the mouth and jaw, the throat, the shoulders, the heart, diaphragm, all of your digestive organs, hips, tops of the legs, bottoms of the legs, deeply rooting into the center of the earth. Second, slow, deep, relaxing breath. This time, feeling energy from the earth rise up to support us. Energy from the heavens fall down to inspire us, meeting in the middle with a spark of life, and focusing on the Tai Chi pole, which is the center pole that runs through the middle of the body. Feeling that brighten up, lighten up, and expand out. Shuffling off any dust and debris that might be in its way, growing brighter and lighter, and then deeply rooting into the center of the earth. And the third, slow, deep, relaxing breath in. This time focusing on the back of the body, back of the head, back of the neck, shoulders, relaxing and releasing all those back muscles. Feel how good that feels. Into your hips and the buttocks, down through the backs of the legs, and all the way down, deeply rooting through the center of the earth. Next, we're going to bring arms up and pull fingertips back. Hold here to charge. 1, 2, 3. And now we're going to roll the 3 fingers in, like you're making a telephone with your hands. And the hands come up in front to mirror the small intestine that runs inside the body. It runs approximately in a circle around your belly button. And arms should be out a little bit, relaxed. Yeah, some space underneath the armpits. Keep going. Yeah, good, correct. We're doing this for 9 breaths total, so we'll do 2 more breaths. And then fingers come up, flick down to release. Okay, good. And before we have a seat, let's also do some kidney qigong, because it is first thing on a Saturday morning. We want to make sure everybody's awake. And we'll do this 49 times. So as you do this, you're going to aim for your chest, and you're going to do this preferably hard enough to make your chest pop out a bit. So it should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, great. Have a seat, everyone. Did you bring some of that tea for me? Okay, good. And so as always, your booklet has on the inside a beautiful table of contents so that you can easily see everything that we're going to be talking today. And this particular version of it, you can see there were a couple of things that I removed from the curriculum because you have gone through the muscle testing before, so you guys all know how to do that. And because we started doing the SRC class with Ray, so and then everything else is going to be accurate. So has there ever been a time in your life that you didn't get much sleep?
Yes.
Yes. Yes? No. Says the gentleman who slept 2 hours last night. No. How did that feel? to you and everybody else?
Yes.
Because we tend to be a little cranky when we don't sleep well, right? What else? What were the biggest things that you had to deal with when you didn't have sleep?
Difficulty to focus, mostly.
Difficulty focusing, yeah, it's really hard to stay mentally focused when we're like struggling with keeping our eyes open.
Feeling like you didn't have any time to do anything, sleeping during the day.
Ah, oh, that's frustrating. Yeah, and that's a common feeling of one way or the other, we feel like we don't have enough time, we don't have enough energy, thank you. Because we're constantly in a state of deprivation. So it changes our energy frequency from, I have loving abundance and time to think of a thoughtful little gift or a little treat, something I might like to do to make my day nicer or the day for the people around me nicer. And instead it's like, oh God, I hate having to go do this thing. I might be like this. I hate having to go do this thing that I don't want to do because I just want to stay in bed and sleep, or I just want to play in my pajamas and I just want to relax and not have to go do, even it might be something that we might even enjoy. It might be like going with our friends to Selby Gardens, or having a day of something that we might otherwise like turns into a burden. So it changes our whole frequency about the way we think about things, and it changes us to a state of deprivation. We don't have enough. For me, I got into this habit. The biggest time I got into this habit was when I was in undergraduate and I was working my way through school. And so I slept about 4 hours a night, and then I would take a 20-minute power nap during the day, sometime the next day. And I got really good at this. I got so good at this that it was like, I didn't even think there was a problem. And I really prided myself also on being a night owl, right? Has anybody ever been a night owl? What do you think? Okay, so tell me some of the reasons, some of the things, tell me some of your rationalizations for being night owls. Why, what do you like about nighttime?
No interruptions.
It's quiet, no interruptions. Good, what else?
When you can go clubbing.
Oh, sure, yeah. If you're into the party scene, then you're gonna do party stuff. What else?
My issue was always, I just didn't wanna waste time sleeping.
I can sleep when I'm dead. I got stuff to do.
Something like that.
Yeah. Good. What about you, Cheryl?
I used to just go grocery shopping and stuff at night.
Oh my gosh, Walmart at 2 o'clock in the morning because there are no lines. Yeah. I went to,
It's also fun to look at people at Walmart at 2 a.m.
yes, and they're looking at you.
I realized that one day when I looked at what I was wearing.
I had a very similar experience to the 2 o'clock at Walmart scene when I went to Home Depot on the 4th of July at like 7 o'clock at night, and it was like, oh, it's like Walmart at 2 o'clock in the morning. Oh, okay, good to know. Yeah, we have, so what's the common theme that you hear? It has to do with quiet and wanting basically time to ourselves and things to flow smoothly, right? Like just not having to be in rush hour traffic. Metaphorically, right? Like if we are trying to work during a time when our email is open and we're constantly getting emails, and then we feel like we have to constantly reply to, we're in a state of reaction rather than in a state of directed purpose. So by being awake at night, then you have more control over your energy field, and you feel more in control, and you feel more of this directed purpose kind of experience.
I'm sorry, I think there would be a difference if you live in a big city versus a small town as to whether or not nighttime has more appeal. Because there's a lot more happening at night in a big city than there is in a small town.
So it depends on whether you're looking for the things that are happening or the things that are not happening. So yes, absolutely. So for like, if you want to go goof off with your friends, you want to go to a club. I was recently in Ibiza, Spain, which is the heart of the electronic dance music scene, and like their work day doesn't start until midnight, right? Like that's that's when the electronic dance music DJs have to be at work. So they're right in that. There's also, is there something else, especially my Chinese medicine people, is there something else about nighttime? What happens at nighttime?
Well, your body is supposed to respond according to certain rhythms.
Mm-hmm.
It's good nighttime is best for healing.
Mm-hmm. Why is that?
Because that's the way God put it.
Yin
Your
time.
body's at rest, it's supposed to be at rest. And you feel better while you're resting and having a nice sleep.
Yes. Yep. So in Chinese medicine, we say this is when the yang enters the yin. So during the day, the sunshine is out, and this is the time that our yang energy is more active. And we'll talk more about yang and yin in just a little bit. At nighttime, our yin energy is the most active, and it's supposed to be that the yang enters the yin. Yang energy is sunshine, this is brightness and lightness, this is picture a little 4-year-old boy running into a group of kids and going, everybody run around, right? That's pure yang energy, or yang energy if you're from Texas like me. And yin energy is the quiet, it's the contemplative. It's symbolized by the moon and the ocean. And medically inside the body, yin is the substance, so it's the fluids, the blood of the body. So nighttime is when the yang energy, the activity, is supposed to come inside to the yin energy and be at rest, the yin substance and be at rest. If that doesn't happen, if there's a separation between yang and yin, then there will be a failure for the yang to fully enter the yin. And one of the ways that that tends to present is monkey mind, right? The activity continues in the mind even when the body is at rest. Like you put yourself to bed and then you can't sleep for some reason. And that's one of the ways that the yang enters the yin. So going back to when I was back in school and I really prided myself on being a night owl, when I really dug into it, I realized that it had to do with, I felt that I needed to work harder in order to get ahead. And, in truth, I was working my way through school, so it did cost me some midnight oil. However, there was also a perception around that. So later on when I was in graduate school, I wound up on the other end of the shift. I worked as a personal trainer. And when you are a new employee at the personal training at the gym, then you pull these shifts that nobody else wants. So I worked Friday evenings at the gym, and I also worked early in the mornings. I worked the opening shifts. And so I went from my, happy to have been a night owl, and it's not really a big deal if I go to bed like by 1 o'clock in the morning, it's fine. I can catch up on sleep on the weekends. That's what coffee is for. To, oh, I have to be at work at 4:40 in the morning. And oh dear God. And I was so afraid of oversleeping for that shift that oftentimes my sleep would be disrupted throughout the night because I was so afraid of oversleeping. So not only did I have to get up very early, but I also had disrupted sleep just because I was afraid of oversleeping. And to complicate things, I only had this shift 1 day a week, which sounds like that would be better than having it every day of the week. Which it was better than having it every day of the week, but also I never got on a rhythm, I never got on a schedule because it was always like up and down. At the same time, I had classes that I had to be in that I was paying good money to attend that went until 9 o'clock at night. And so eating and winding down and driving home and resting, has anybody ever waited tables in here? No, okay. Well, for those of you watching online, if you've ever waited tables, then you know how much time it takes to wind down after work, and usually there's eat food and you have to come to rest, and so it's like, okay, maybe your shift ends at 10 o'clock at night. There's no way you're falling asleep before midnight at best because you've just been running around at your absolute busiest, both mentally and physically. And then also you have to feed yourself and have to, transport yourself. So there's a lot of complicating factors that go into different types of lifestyles. In this particular case though, back to me in college and undergraduate, I wanted to stay up late because I felt that I needed to work hard to get ahead. And what I didn't realize was that my brain actually worked much, much better early in the morning than it did late at night. And it was an illusion that I could get more done later, that I was actually much more productive early in the morning than I am late. And there's I was recently reading a book called The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. I remembered the name. The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, which is a fantastic read by this lovely Japanese lady. And in this book, she talks about going to people's homes and organizing, helping them organize. And it's brilliant, by the way. If you have not read this, it is really, really brilliant. A clean home is so healthy for the brain that I'll actually be talking about this in the Retrain Your Brain class. So as I'm reading this book, I run across this one paragraph, which I really wish would have been further emphasized. Sometimes I feel like I read different books than other people because I pull things from them that's like, that's gold. That's the thing that's like speaking directly to me right now. And what she said was, she noticed that when she went to people's houses in the morning, that it took about half as long as it did in the afternoon. Same task, same project across the board. That's because our brains are much more efficient in the mornings because it's just gone through its lymphatic dump. It has just gone through its cleaning process. It is the cleanest, it is the healthiest, it is the most organized in the morning. And if this is not your experience, then there's something wrong that needs to be nourished in your body. And I believe also our skills for organization are strongest in the morning. I believe this is because our GABA receptors, the GABA neurotransmitter in our brain is a bit higher. So there's a lot to be said for getting a good night's sleep. Because if you wake up groggy and tired, then that early morning benefit that you're supposed to get from being wiser, smarter, and more productive doesn't pan out. And instead of being rewarded for getting your work done early, it goes in the opposite direction. And then you're tired and groggy, you can't get done what you need to get done. So then you have to work longer in order to get it done. And then you're right back where you started, right? Night out. So, all right, so let's get out of that game. Of course, we always talk about, by the way, this is the short class today. We're only gonna be going till 1 o'clock because we have advanced students here. You've been through most of this material with me, so congratulations for being advanced students and studying well. So we're gonna be going through these quicker because I know that you know these things. Okay, so the first one is, we're gonna start with the energy evolution basics. Do you guys all remember these? I am part of invisible. Keep saying it.
Field which contains.
A vast invisible field of energy. Do you have a pen? I am part of a vast invisible field of energy which contains, Kira, you were on a roll. Do you remember the next part? Anybody? I am part of a vast invisible field of energy.
I didn't get enough sleep last night, so I can't think right.
All right. I am part of a vast invisible field of energy which contains all possible realities. And I am diligent to my sleep. I'm very protective of my sleep. So I got you covered. Which contains all possible realities and responds to my thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. I am part of a vast invisible field of energy which contains all possible realities and responds to my thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. The next one has to do with matter and energy. So if we take an atom and we break it down into what percent of it is mass and what percent of it is energy, what percent of it is mass?
0.00001.
Yes. So in your books, we take this out to 5 decimal places. In reality, it is at least 12 decimal places out to 0.0001%. And that means that we are, say it with me, 99.99999% energy. And that is why your energy really matters. And I have to say, this could be something that's very difficult to keep sight of, right? I can see walls, I can see people, I can see cars, but unless I'm really focused on it, I don't walk around seeing energy. And yet that is the single most important frequency, the single most important thing for me to attend to in every aspect of my life, because every single aspect of us is energy, right?
Yes.
Yes, good, okay. So, atoms are what?
99.99999% energy.
Good. And 0.00001% matter. So number 3, our material bodies and the body of the universe both flicker out in and out of existence at the speed of light. Ooh, you like this one, you remember it. Yes, that's why if we're mostly energy and we're made up of these atoms with these particles inside, we'll talk more about, if we're mostly energy, then why is it that things feel quite solid? Why is it that they feel quite solid?
We're not traveling at the speed of light. Our atoms are,
We're made up of atoms.
right?
Yeah.
Hold together by energy, maybe?
Yes, so we're flickering in and out of existence at the speed of light. So our atoms are spinning and are turning. And that movement inside of us takes something that's like, if you've ever seen a propeller on a plane start, you know, you see and it's stationary, and then you see and it starts to move and you can see it, and then you keep watching and then you can't see it at all because it's moving so fast, right? Well, in this case, we're actually moving so fast that you can see it, so it's come back around because we're not watching propellers move at the speed of light. So all of these things, whether it's the walls or the humans or our hair, any solid thing is actually flickering in and out of existence at the speed of light. It isn't a stable structure it isn't as it appears. It isn't just a one stable structure. Although, you know, please don't walk around being afraid to walk on buildings and stairs and things like that. I actually had that, by the way. My I had a fear of heights, but I had a very specific fear of heights, which was that I was very uncomfortable in buildings at high levels, but I rock climbed for a decade and it was one of my favorite things on the planet. I was totally fine with the rocks. Just the buildings left me a little skeptical. Yeah, I don't know about the structure, the building of that. I think I'm gonna stick to what's right there on the side of the planet. Although it makes my sweetheart very nervous to see me on rocks these days. So, do you remember? Yeah. Okay. Every observer affects the experiment. Yes. So in I believe it was in 1996 in the journal Science, a study was published that had 2 people in 2 separate rooms. Remember what happened? I know you've all heard this story because you've been to school. What was the experiment?
One guy was watching the movie, and the other guy had the same reaction that he did, even though he wasn't watching the same movie.
Exactly. So total sound barrier. Nobody knew that anybody else was in any other room. They didn't know that an experiment was going on except for the fact that they had electrodes hooked up to their brains. They didn't know what the experiment was. And that's exactly what happened, what Cheryl said. The subject that was watching a movie, his brain waves were being mapped, and the subject who couldn't hear or see any of that at all, his brain waves started to match. So our energy frequencies affect those around us.
And they didn't know each other.
No. Right. If they were related, then that would seem feasible. Which means that we inherently, intuitively get that people have connections. And so if we have connections if we know we have connections between people that we love or people that we're related to, which usually are the same thing, but not always, then the connection of any of us on the planet being connected to one another isn't that far of a leap. Because we are actually all connected. And I'm so glad you asked that question because we're going to be coming to that in just a moment. Number 5, every human being, along with everything in the universe, broadcasts its own unique frequency. So drywall is going to have a particular frequency, that specific type of glass is going to have a particular frequency. This is very easily observed in light, right, Jim?
Absolutely.
So in recording, then the light that is used is, you can easily see whether or not it's the same frequency, right? So if I open this window right here, you're gonna see light come in on the side, and the reason it's closed is because if I go stand next to it, then my videographer gets very upset with me because you can't see me anymore. And that's one particular frequency of light. We have another frequency here, we have other frequencies on the side, so it's very easy to see that we have different frequencies all the time. And, well, before we get into the light being both particle and wave, yes?
33 minutes.
Oh, okay. We're going to take a short break while the video is changed.